You're capable of so much more, and it's quietly eating you alive. So let's start where this actually lives, because it's not in your calendar, it's not in your bank account, and it's not even in your physique. It lives within that low level of quiet frustration that you carry around every day of your life like background noise. Does that sound familiar? Because nothing's collapsing, you're not in crisis, you're functioning, income's decent, you train. Sometimes people from the outside looking in assume you're doing well, but there's a quiet sentence that keeps surfacing up when everything goes quiet. I should be further, I'm falling behind. Not compared to other people, but compared to yourself. And that sentence is eating at you. You know you're capable of so much more, you know it. That's the problem. You don't lack intelligence. You don't lack information. You don't lack opportunity. You lack alignment across the 3 B's, body, business and being. That low level frustration that you feel isn't burnout, and it's not boredom. It's misalignment across the 3 pillars that actually determine your life. Body, being, business. So let me just break it down properly. You don't wake up thinking I'm misaligned. You wake up feeling slightly heavy, slightly off. You hit the snooze button once, maybe twice. You don't want to start the day. You tell yourself that it doesn't really matter, you're just a bit tired. Then later in the day, you hesitate before sending a message that you know would move the needle forward. It might make you money, might bring an opportunity, or you decide to scroll when you said you wouldn't, and then skip a workout because the day was getting a bit long. Nothing dramatic even happened, but something subtle shifted within yourself. A little less self-respect, a little bit more tension. And then you carry it throughout the day, and that tension just compounds on itself, gets bigger and bigger, because you're capable of more, but you're not executing at the level that you know you could consistently. And that gap creates friction, and friction feels like frustration. So let's break it down while we're talking about it. There are seasons in your life where business is strong, income's coming in, conversations are sharp, momentum's visible and you can feel it, but then your body softens, sleep gets inconsistent, training's irregular, nutrition's careless, and you tell yourself that it's just temporary. But the body's not just about the aesthetics and the cosmetics, it's structural. Because when your body doesn't reflect your ambition, your standards start to soften, you start to negotiate more, you tolerate more, you push less. Strong business, weak body. And that misalignment creates internal tension. And then you tighten the body up instead, decide to dial in the training, clean up the diet. You feel sharper physically, but you avoid the uncomfortable revenue moves that you know are going to make you money. Yeah, you refine the messaging. That's instead of making a pitch. You consume instead of executing, and you stay busy without ever being decisive. So you get a good body, but you're losing out on income. Again, misalignment. And then there are phases where you feel calm mentally. You're reading, you're reflecting, meditating, journaling, but then your execution on the money making disappears. You start thinking deeply but acting inconsistently because you know what to do. So why don't you always do it? Calm mind, inconsistent business, you're falling off in the gym. That frustration grows because you're not failing. You're just fragmenting in a million ways because you know you're capable of more. And you're not aligned enough to deliver it consistently. And that gap is just eating at you. It's just biting away at you, building that frustration up. So let me tell you about a client. Name's Ryan, 37 years old, in a high up corporate role. He's making good money, solid salary. He's in okay shape, married, and from the outside, stable. But inside, he feels irritated. He didn't come to me because he was broke. He came to me because he was restless, and he said something that I'll never forget. He says, I feel like I'm living at 60% of what I'm capable of. Not completely miserable, just underused compared to what he knows he could be doing. And when we mapped his life across body, being and business, it became obvious. His body fluctuates every time he gets stressed. His mindset fluctuates with his sleep, and his income generating activity fluctuates with his mood, because he was never lazy, he was just divided. Body operating on one rhythm, mind operating on another, and then business on another, and there was no integration, so nothing compounded together. He'd have a sharp week, then drift, then reset and say he's going to start again on Monday and start strong, then negotiate again. Then the frustration just grew, not because he lacked the opportunity, but because he was lacking in alignment. So we didn't give him motivation. We installed structure into his life. 3 pillars, 3 daily non-negotiables per pillar. No negotiation. Body has to be sharp regardless of the workload. His being and his mind had to be structured regardless of the stress. And his business had to include at least one income generating action daily regardless of how awkward it is. Within 30 days, something shifted. Not hype, but stability. And within 60 days, the frustration dropped. Not because life got easier, but because contradiction got reduced. And within 90 days, his income started to improve. Energy was up, confidence was up. Not because he discovered new information, but because he aligned his execution. Because that low-level frustration that you're carrying around with you, it's your standards trying to speak. You don't feel behind because you're incapable. You feel behind because you know you're underperforming in relation to your potential. And potential without execution creates tension. And that tension is misalignment. Soft body, scattered mind, and stagnant income, or some variation of it. You already know exactly which pillar that you're leaking in. You feel it in all those small moments. When you look in the mirror, when you sat there at night and it's gone quiet, when you delay that uncomfortable task that you know will move your life forward, when you decide to scroll instead of act, and when you reset instead of continuing. You don't hate your life. You hate the inconsistency of it all. You hate negotiating with yourself over and over again. You hate knowing better, but not doing better, because you know you're capable of more. Else you wouldn't have clicked this video today. But capability without structure is useless. Alignment is not a mood, it's a system. When your body supports your ambition, when your being supports your focus, and when your business reflects your standards, that low-level frustration disappears. Not because you're perfect, but because you're integrated. Because you are not lazy, you are divided. And division creates that anxiety that you can't get rid of, but alignment creates power. So if this feels true for you, click the link in the description and get a free copy of the alignment blueprint. Not because you need inspiration, because you need structure. You don't need another Monday reset. You need integration, because you don't need any more ambition. You've got bucket loads. You need fewer contradictions about the way your life moves forward, because right now, the gap between who you are and who you could be is quietly eating away at you. And it's just going to keep on whispering until you either lower your standards or you raise the level of your systems and your structure. One creates comfort, the other creates power that compounds on itself every day. You already know which one you want. The only question is whether you're ready to align yourself across body, being and business and close that gap, because the frustration won't go away. Not until the misalignment does. So click the link in the description and get your free copy of the alignment blueprint, or comment the word align and I'll send it through to you. But don't bother clicking on the next video if you're not going to get your free copy of the alignment blueprint. Let's fucking go.